Welcome to Common Prophets. In this video, we shall examine the Hindu timeline on the basis of genealogy, archaeology and astrology, make a revised timeline, and in the process also see whether it matches with the Abrahamic timeline. The traditional Hindu timeline says that we are living in the 4th Kali Yuga of the 28th Chatur Yuga, of the 7th Vaivaswat Manu of the 2nd Varaha Kalpa. And each of the 71 Chatur Yuga in one Manvantar is of 43,20,000 years. If we calculate the beginning on this basis, it comes to 6.2 billion years. The difficulty is that genetic evidence suggests that the modern humans evolved only about 160,000 years ago. Therefore, it is difficult to place the beginnings of our civilization at 6.2 billion years ago. And this also does not match with the genealogical evidence. Therefore, we will re-examine the Hindu timeline. We begin with Krishna. Tradition says that Krishna was born 25 to 32 generations before Buddha. Each generation is reckoned at about 25 years. And Buddha was born about 500 years before the Common Era BCE. Therefore, 25 to 32 generations multiplied by 25 comes to 625 to 800 years before Buddha. Now, if Buddha was at 500 BCE, then Krishna on genealogical considerations would be between 1125 and 1300 BCE. On archaeological considerations, the Hindu tradition says that after Dwarka got submerged, Krishna not only left Dwarka, but he left this entire area for an unknown country, which seems to indicate that this entire area was in a difficult circumstance. So this could match with the decline of the Indus Valley civilization, which took place between 1900 and 1300 BCE. Therefore, on archaeological considerations, we can place Krishna between 1900 and 1300 BCE. On astrology, different astrologers have different calculations. Most calculations suggest the time of Krishna between 3100 to 1100 BCE. Therefore, the time of 1300 BCE for Krishna matches with all the three parameters: genealogy from 1125 to 1300, archaeology from 1900 to 1300, and astrology between 3300 and 1100. On these considerations, we suggest that Krishna may have been born around 1300 BCE. Some scholars place Krishna and the Mahabharata war around 3100 BCE. The first difficulty is of genealogy. If Krishna lived at 3100 BCE, that would be 2600 years before Buddha. At 32 generations, each generation would have to be of 81 years to cover this time, which is improbable. On archaeology also we have a problem, because Krishna was born a long time after the advent of the Ikshwaku and Yadu dynasties. Therefore, we should find archaeological evidence of cities, well-established cities such as Lanka and Ayodhya, much before 1300 BCE. The second problem is that if Indus Valley civilization flourished from 3300 to 1300 BCE, then did this entire vast civilization disappear without leaving any literary evidence whatsoever? Therefore, archaeologically, it is not possible to place Krishna at 3100 BCE. And we suggest that 1300 BCE is more appropriate for his time. The second divine person is Rama. Genealogically, tradition believes that Rama was born 35 generations before Krishna. So if taking a generation at 25 years, the time between Krishna and Rama would be about 875 years or say 900 years. If Krishna was born at 1300 BC as we discussed above, then Rama would have been born at 2200 BC. On archaeological considerations, we don't have much evidence on Ram because he was born in the middle of the Ikshwaku dynasty, and therefore he could be placed any time between 3300 and 1300 BC, which is the time of the Indus Valley civilization. On astrology, his time is suggested between 7000 and 1600 BC. Therefore, the time of 2200 BC for Rama matches with all three parameters: genealogy at 2200, archaeology between 3300 and 1300, and astrology between 7000 and 1600. Therefore, we suggest Rama was born around 2200 BC. Now, some scholars place Rama at 5100 BC. Like Krishna, this faces the problem of genealogy. If they accept the traditional timing, then Krishna at 3100 and Rama at 1500, the distance between the two becomes 2000 years. At 35 generations, each generation would have to be 57 years to cover this time, and this is unnatural. On archaeology, the problem is even more because Rama was born long time after the Ikshwaku dynasty had flourished, and therefore we should have evidence of well-established cities before 1500 BC, which we don't find. Therefore, the time of 5100 does not gel according to our assessment. The third divine person is Vaivaswat Manu. Traditionally, it is said that Vaivaswat Manu was born 81 generations before Ram. Now, Ram at 2200 BC, and if we add 81 generations at 25 years each, it comes to 2025 years or say 2000 years, then Vaivaswat Manu would be placed at 4200 BCE on genealogical considerations. On archaeological considerations, the scriptures say that Vaivaswat Manu had established the first city named Ayodhya. The mention of the first city is important because it tells that cities began to be established at that time, and the cities of the Indus Valley began to be established around 3300 BCE. Therefore, on archaeological considerations, we place Vaivaswat Manu at 3300 BCE. On astrological considerations, his time is placed between 8000 and 2700 BCE. Now, taking all the three parameters together, we find a conflict between genealogy and archaeology. According to genealogy, he was born 4200 BCE, whereas according to archaeology, he was born at 3300 BCE. Between the two, we feel archaeology is more reliable because the number of generations and the length of generations are both kind of uncertain. Whereas archaeological evidence is more concrete. We can find bricks, moats, parapets, and so much archaeological evidence. Therefore, among the two, we accept the evidence of archaeology and for the time being put the evidence of genealogy on the back burner, although acceptance of the time of 4200 does not change the overall picture that we are drawing. As a working hypothesis, therefore, we suggest that Vaivaswat Manu was born at 3300 BCE. Taking all the evidence, all the three parameters, we can place these three divine persons as Vaivaswat Manu at 3300, Rama at 2200 and Krishna at 1300 BCE. Now we can determine the time of the Yuga based upon the time of these divine persons. The scriptures say that Vaivaswat Manu was born at the beginning of the Treta Yuga and Krishna was born at the end of the Dwapar Yuga. Therefore, the combined time of the Treta and Dwapar Yuga would be the same as the time between Vaivaswat Manu and Krishna, which is 2000 years. The tradition also says that the four yugas are in the ratio of 4:3:1. Therefore, Treta and Dwapar yugas can be divided in the ratio of 3:2. Dividing this time of 2000 years in a ratio of 3:2, we come to Treta Yuga of 1200 years, beginning at 3300 BCE, and Dwapar Yuga of 800 years beginning at 2100 BCE and ending at 1300 BCE. Now we can extrapolate this timeline backwards to Krita Yuga. Taking Krita Yuga in the ratio of 4:3:1, if Treta Yuga in the ratio of 3 was of 1200 years, then Krita Yuga in the ratio of 4 would be 1600 years. And this came to an end at 3300 BCE. Therefore, we can say that Krita Yuga started at 4900 BCE and ended at 3300 BCE. Similarly, extrapolating Kali Yuga downwards, the Dwapar Yuga in the ratio of 2 was of 800 years. Therefore, Kali Yuga in the ratio of 1 would be 400 years. And this started at the time of Krishna. Therefore, Kali Yuga started at 1300 BC and would have ended at 900 BC. In this manner, we suggest that Krita Yuga was from 4900 to 3300 BC, Treta from 3300 to 2100 BC, Dwapar from 2100 to 1300 BC, and Kali Yuga from 1300 to 900 BC. Now the tradition says that one Chatur Yuga, that is the combination of 4 yuga, is of 43,20,000 years. Now perhaps the thousands have been added as a hyperbole. So if we remove the 3 zeros, then one Chatur Yuga would be of 4320 years, which is somewhat similar to the 4000 years that we have calculated above. Now we come to the Manvantara. Swayambhu Manu was the first Manu after whom the first Manvantar named Swayambhu was named. He had a son named Privrat, who in turn had 5 sons named Sorochisa, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata and Chakshusa. Now the first 6 Manvantars are named after Swayambhu Manu and these 5 grandsons. Now since these 6 were grandfather-grandson, therefore on the historical time scale, they would have been at almost the same time. Therefore it seems that these first 6 Manvantars ran parallel. It is possible these 6 persons may have been heads of 6 geographical locations where the 6 Manvantaras started at approximately the same time. Similarly, Vaivaswat Manu had a son named Savarni Manu, who in turn had 6 sons named Daksha, Meru, Surya, Chandra, Rudra and Vishnu. And the latter 8 Manvantaras are named after these grandfather, father and sons. Once again, on the historical time scale, these 8 Manus would have lived at approximately the same time. Therefore, we consider these to be parallel. Perhaps these Manvantaras ran at the same time at 8 different locations. In this manner, we postulate that the first 6 Manvantaras covered the time between 4900 BCE and 3300 BC, and the latter Manvantaras, including the current Vaivaswat Manvantara, started from 3300 BCE, although we do not know whether and when they will end. Now the third method of calculating time is of Kalpa. It is said that presently we are running in the Varaha Kalpa. Now Lord Varaha brought out the earth from the great flood which took place at the time of Vaivaswat Manu. Since Vaivaswat Manu was born at 3300 BCE, therefore we can think Lord Varaha would also have been born at approximately the same time of the same flood. And we can postulate that Varaha Kalpa started at 3300 BCE. If Varaha Kalpa started at 3300 BC, then the previous Braahm Kalpa would have ended at 3300 BC, although the texts do not give any indication of when it may have started. On the Yuga, the Krita Yuga came to an end at 3300 BC and Treta Yuga started at this time. At the Manvantara, the earlier 6 Manvantaras came to an end at this time and the latter 8 Manvantaras started at this time. Now in this picture, we have put the 3 methods of reckoning time together. Between 4900 and 3300 BCE, we have Krita Yuga, the first 6 Manvantaras, and Braahm Kalpa running in parallel. Between 3300 and 900 BCE, we have the latter 3 Yugas, the latter 8 Manvantaras, and the Varaha Kalpa, which may continue further down, we don't know. Therefore, if we put these timelines in this manner, then this becomes consistent with the evidences from genealogy, archaeology, as well as astrology. Therefore, time has come for us to review the Hindu timeline. Very interestingly, this timeline becomes nearly parallel with the Abrahamic timeline. The Hindu timeline places Swayambhu Manu at 4900 BCE. The Abrahamic timeline places his parallel Adam, the first man, at 4000 BCE, which is a difference of 900 years, but given the large time since this happened, perhaps this is not so significant. The Hindu timeline places Vaivaswat Manu at 3300 BCE. The Abrahamic timeline places his parallel Noah at 3000 BCE, at whose time the flood took place. The Hindu timeline places Rama at 2200 BCE. The Abrahamic timeline places his parallel Abraham at 2090 BCE. The Hindu timeline places Krishna at 1300 BCE. The Abrahamic timeline places his parallel Moses at 1500 BCE. Therefore, this revised timeline not only gives us an opportunity to explain to the modern generation with an inquisitive mind that how our timeline matches with the evidences from genealogy, archaeology and astrology, as well as additionally with the Abrahamic timeline. We think time has come for us to review the tradition and work out a timeline which is more understandable to the modern mind. We have published a detailed paper on this subject in the South Asian History, Culture and Archaeology Journal, which gives all the references on the basis of which we have made these calculations. The link to that paper is available in the description of this video, and we welcome you to read the paper and also provide us with your critical comments. Before we leave, please do not forget to like and share this post, and for more information, please visit our website www.commonprophets.com. Thank you, and we hope to see you again. Have a good day.